Oh, okay.
Oh, I think I have to do record to mine as well. Ask Christina Gardner to allow you to record to your computer. Okay. Okay. Now do I hit it again?
I think so.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yay! Okay. Okay, Matthew. Hello, I hope you're doing well. Would you like to tell me about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, my name is Matthew. I am going to be graduating with my Bachelor of the Arts from Quantum Polytechnic University here very shortly. I am a creative writing major. I've always loved writing. I think that reading and writing are the cornerstones of not just our educational system, but as humans. We are, huge communicators and have to read and write well to be able to communicate well, in my opinion. Um, I discovered my passion for education, both via a love of learning as well as sort of to say an act of rebellion, mostly because I didn't learn like other students. And I struggled a lot in school because of that. And I want to, moving forward, be able to combine my love of writing and storytelling and learning and kind of pay that forward and be someone who can guide students who maybe need someone who can understand that not everyone learns the same.
Yeah, that's a great intro. Thank you. Um, can you tell me more about how you're gonna kind of use your passion for education and, creative writing to, help build a student's confidence and self-esteem in their writing?
I think confidence in writing comes from the same place that any kind of confidence would come from, which is a lot of positive reinforcement. I like to use what's called the sandwich method, which is kind of fun for students to learn as well, where you give them one compliment and then you give them a piece of constructive criticism. You don't want to be too harsh. You just want to be honest and kind about it. And then you give them another positive, and then they can move forward knowing what they're doing right, knowing what they need to improve on, and not feeling um, downtrodden or like it's hopeless. I don't want my students to ever feel that way. I want them to want to learn. And
Mhm.
that definitely comes with positivity, I think.
Yeah, great. That's great. Um, so in this position, you're kind of having to teach multiple students all at the same time.
Mhm.
How would you manage this?
Well, I know that with this company, you guys have small class sizes with a maximum of three students, which is awesome. I think that the smaller class sizes um, really lets the students get that individualized teaching time that they need. But it is still more than one person. So I think that collaborative learning is very important. So once you've presented your lessons, there are some students who are going to get different things quicker. And I think having them facilitating a conversation with all of the students and then they can kind of help teach each other. I think that would be a very good way forward for that.
Yes, definitely. Collaboration is definitely key in this position for sure. So great point there. Can you tell me more kind of about your educational background and kind of how it will help you to manage this position?
Yeah, my formal education background is obviously creative writing, which is the subject being taught. So I have a very strong foundation and knowledge of the curriculum. But other than that, I also have a very extensive background and training in crisis management. I currently work for the Fraser Health Authority, managing large scale emergencies. Um, so I'm very familiar with multitasking, juggling important things, knowing how to prioritize tasks, and I think that that would be a big asset here.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you kind of tell me about a time you encountered maybe a problem in the way you taught or maybe even tutored someone, a student, and kind of how you resolved that?
Yeah, a couple years ago when I very first started teaching, I had a student who we were learning how to use money. A lot of my teaching is with practical skills because it was largely a part of behavioral intervention for people on the spectrum or with ASD. So we were teaching, budgeting and money, and he was just having a really hard time grasping that. So I had to go home and kind of mull it over. And what I ended up doing is I purchased these little plastic coins from the dollar store,
Hmm.
and I brought them to his home and I gave them to him. And at the end of each lesson, if he had hit a goal, I would give him a certain amount of coins. And I also bought a bunch of prizes while I was at that dollar store. And so whenever he had gotten enough coins or hit enough goals, he could exchange those in for prizes. So it taught him budgeting and how money works kind of in a fun and practical way. So he could then actually apply that when going to stores. He already knew how the counting out money worked.
Hmm. Oh, that's great. That's a great resolution. Good on
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Sounds like you know how to handle a crisis, a problem. That's very
Mhm.
good. Um, so how you obviously kind of already went over this now using that example, but how would you support students who are just really struggling with their writing and it doesn't feel like, they're gonna like it just feels like they just can't get there.
Again, a lot of positive reinforcement.
Hmm.
Um, sorry, everyone does learn differently. So there's lots of ways. There is adjusting the way that you are teaching, the complexity of the text used. You can use audio or visual supports, alternative resources. I think if they're really struggling, it can be worth a conversation with them about why they think they're struggling. It's and potentially their parents as well. Um, and maybe setting much smaller goals. Some students they can learn a whole chapter, in one sitting, but it's unrealistic to expect that of everyone. So breaking it into small, reasonable chunks, relating it to their experiences,
Hmm.
things like that.
Great. I love that. Alrighty. Do you have any questions for me?
I do. I actually brought a list of me. Just one moment while I pull that up
Great.
here. So I have a couple of questions, yes. And I'll just list them kind of for the
Hmm.
purposes of this. How would you describe the company work culture? I saw that you offer continuing education. What does that look like? What are the opportunities that you guys have?
Hmm.
How would you describe your leadership style? What are the opportunities for internal growth? And how will my performance be evaluated? What metrics matter most?
Hmm. I think this is the part where we just
Thank you for having me. Shake
You're
hands.
welcome. Shake hands.
Okay.
Amazing. Great interview. You did very well.
Yeah.
Now it's
Okay, I
me.
think I'll stop mine.
Okay, I'll